Oh, we got the 3-shot feed. Yeah, they go to 2-shot.
Ooh.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Football Primetime. I'm your host, Bill Dean. I'm, of course, here with my co-host, AJ Dean, brought to you by Primetime Radio. Football. We weren't here for last week, obviously the Phrygian mayhem, but I'm actually kind of happy that we didn't do one last week because the news just kept coming in, and we'll go to immediately to the big trade that happened this weekend. Tyreek Hill, basically the NFL just ran all over college basketball. They're like, it's not your time to shine, it's our time to shine. And Tyreek Hill trade with and it's perfect because just for as a Jets fans, they talk about how the Jets are in, that the offer was accepted for their package by KC, and basically KC allowed Tyreek Hill to pick between him and the Dolphins, and thank God he picked the Dolphins because, I would not have wanted that it was excuse me, it was 2 seconds and a third, and I think it basically the draft charts had the equivalent of the same package that Miami gave up. For a guy, and plus to give him $30 million on top of that on a 4-year contract is a little crazy. I know he's fantastic, and he's probably a top 10 receiver. I don't think he's a top 10 receiver anymore with Tua, but is someone that definitely can get up and down the field. It would have made Zach Wilson's life a lot easier, and especially coupled with the fact that the Jets basically didn't do anything at the wide receiver position other than re-sign Braxton Berrios. But the Jets kind of lucked out because that would have been a big haul, and I'm glad they didn't give it up. I would be more inclined to give up that kind of package for DK Metcalf or Calvin Ridley if he was able to play this year. But I'm happy with it.
I still wouldn't be mad. I mean, yeah, they would have given up a decent amount, right, and just paying
2 seconds.
Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
But I mean, they kept the first
2 seconds
right,
in a loaded draft, I think, in terms of receiver at least.
Yeah, but I mean, they still had the first. That's why, that's what I looked at it as. They were keeping their 2 first-round picks. They weren't giving anything crazy. I mean, obviously, you're paying, Hill, but I think I would have taken it to have a top wide receiver like that. When's the last time we've had a number one like that before?
It's been a while. Keyshawn Johnson. Do you include Brandon Marshall? Like, I know he played awesome. He was awesome for the Jets for a while. Obviously that Brandon Marshall, Eric Decker tandem was really good. Yeah, probably Keyshawn Johnson is the last awesome wide receiver that we had. It's sad to say that he's back in the 90s. It would have been nice. It would have definitely made, and this is the big thing with Zach Wilson, is the fact that he can't seem to get, and I know that Corey Davis is a vet and he knows what he's doing, but last year wasn't great. They needed what I thought was one of the top guys, Devontae Adams. I know that, he pretty much basically said it was either, and we'll get into that signing or that trade as well, but, he said it was basically either the Packers or the Raiders. There are a couple other guys that were available that I would have liked, or even if it was just a vet in general. Because they lost Jamison Crowder. I know he's not fantastic, but it's just a vet guy, and your receiver room is an Elijah Moore, Corey Davis, Braxton Berrios injury away from seeing someone like Jeff Smith or some of these guys that you shouldn't really seeing the football field. But that's, we'll talk about the Jets in a little bit. Like I said, the big one, trade-wise last week was what occurred there with Tyreek Hill. And, now kind of, with Kansas City on the other side. By the way, between Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill in Miami, those guys are going to fly up and down the field.
And I think that's another reason why, too, I'm slightly upset that they just didn't get him, just because now we're playing against them, right? It's another weapon.
Yeah.
Our division gets even tougher.
You're not excited about DJ Reed, covering him and his 3 years, $33 million, or Jordan Whitehead over the top? You think that they can't cover someone like that?
No, I'm not
that's being sarcastic, by the way.
No, I know, but I'm just saying,
I know.
I just don't want to face another weapon like that when you already have, Diggs, you're playing against,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
playing Belichick every, twice a year. It's,
Uh,
wanted a weapon.
and Belichick with his new, and I know I keep jumping on little tangents, but Belichick and his offensive staff now consisting of Joe Judge and Matt Patricia now. I guess they're going to have him
It's
more
amazing.
involved with coaching. A cool thing I did see, and once again, another tangent, just talking about assistant coaches, but apparently NFL made a mandate that all teams must now add a minority offensive coach, which expands the Rooney Rule to include women.
Hmm.
So I like that. Obviously, it'd be nice that they didn't have to make up stupid rules like this to get the best
Yep.
people in the league in positions that matter. But at least the NFL is making strides. The coach could
Strides.
be a female or a member of an ethnic or racial minority. Um, this was done at the annual meetings, and they'll be paid from a league-wide fund. Coach must work closely with the head coach and the offensive staff with the goal of increasing minority participation in the pool of offensive coaches that eventually produce the most sought-after candidates for head coaching positions, because obviously offense rules right now. I mean, I wish they would do it in both sides. I don't know why it has to be just offense too, but I understand that
Yeah.
offense, like I said, they rule, and that's what everybody wants is an offensive-minded coach. Um, I lag a little bit. Okay, so more. You want to go by division? Do you want to go by just alphabetical? Talk about teams altogether. Actually, sorry. Let's finish up on KC and just that second part of the trade.
Hmm.
So obviously they get a boatload of picks. I think the entire. I know they got a first, and so they got a first. First, they got a second, I believe it was. I'm looking up right now, AJ. So the 4-year deal, $120 million. They got a first, a second round pick, and a fourth round pick, plus a fourth and a sixth in the 2023 NFL draft. What does this do for Kansas City? And, I was thinking about it. It's, a tough loss for Patrick Mahomes, that offense, who, really strive on getting the deep ball to Tyreek and then
Hmm.
doing checkdowns to someone like Travis Kelce. And then you have the home run hitters in Mecole Hardman, who can just do a bunch of different things. I know Byron Pringle's now gone. They do
That's the
have.
that's their big thing
Go ahead.
is who's their number one now, right?
I mean, right now it's just Juju Smith-Schuster, right? He was signed in the offseason.
But
They might do a little more running game with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They've signed Marquez Valdez-Scantling. They do have Josh Gordon. Who knows what's going to happen with that?
but I'm saying as like a Casey fan, are you happy that you got rid of Tyreek Hill, right, and you're replacing him with Juju the way that he's
No,
played the past year and a half?
yeah, I think they're absolutely gunning for a wide receiver in the first round.
Yeah.
And I
Hmm.
don't think that's a question. I think they have enough assets now that they can trade up into the first half of the draft and get someone that they like. As a Jet fan, quickly, I want Drake London with that 10th overall pick if he's still there. The fourth overall pick, I don't think that's where I want to go. I want to go with one of the defensive ends if possible, or one of the tackles. But at 10, I want Drake London, and that would scare the crap out of an AFC West team if Mahomes was thrown to a Drake London or
Yeah.
a boatload of these guys in the first round of the draft. And so wide receivers. Just looking up wide receiver rankings of some of the prospects, obviously, that are available. The kid out of Ohio State, Garrett Wilson. You have plenty of guys that are going to do some good things for some of these quarterbacks. You look at them. Casey now needs one. Uh,
Hmm.
Green Bay absolutely needs one.
Yep.
Jameson Williams from Alabama, Drake London, we talked about USC, Treylon Burks from Arkansas. You have your kid Bell from Purdue.
Purdue.
He's more of a second rounder, but I could see him now jumping up into that first, the back half of the first round, just based on how many teams need wide receivers now, and what's people now think about the wide receiver position. Guys coming in right away and making names for themselves: Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. I talked about Treylon Burks from Arkansas, big guy, jumping contentious balls. Chris Olave, who was projected to be, one of the first overall wide receivers, also from Ohio State. Plenty of guys, and I could see that this being a thing where guys are jumping up to try to get another team that can find that wide receiver. And I think that's exactly what Casey does. I think that that's the smart move for them, especially because they have guys that are possession guys in Juju, a guy that with Marcus Valdes-Scantling that could take the top off of a defense, and then you have another guy with possession, which is at your tight end position, in Kelsey.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. It's funny. I wouldn't have pictured Casey, just with the
Trading
window
him.
I feel like they have right now, and I know last year wasn't the most ideal year that they had with just the amount of losses and just the way that offense played. It's interesting, and I know that obviously Hill wanted to be the highest paid wide receiver, and they knew they couldn't do that, but that's a tough pill to swallow if you're a KC fan and trying to look for a new number one to try to replace Hill.
Yeah, I think as a fan, you're not overly happy, but I think you understand that they couldn't pay someone like that much money, especially when what they're looking for is cost controlled guys, and something that they're not going to be able to do with their quarterback making $50 million a year.
Yeah.
Their tight end being one of the higher paid players in the league. And they have a bunch of other guys that are not exactly cost prohibitive. And they're making a lot of money. So, all right. So, do you have anything
just real
else?
quick too? I'm gonna say CEH also scares me a little bit, just the way that he's played. He's another question mark on that team, that running game.
Yeah, and I could see them though, utilizing him a little more, that running game. Kind of give them a different dimension. But yeah, it's definitely a thing that's going to be interesting going in. And do they trade up? Do they trade for a wide receiver? Maybe they're one of the teams that goes after DK, and that would be scary as hell. I didn't even think about that just right now.
That division, man.
It's going to be, and we'll get into it because the AFC West became a juggernaut almost overnight with some of the stuff that happened. All right, so let's go to AFC. Let's do AFC. Well, we'll save the AFC East because Well, no, actually, we'll do it. Sorry, I'm flip flopping a little here. Buffalo Bills. They go outside Von Miller. His 42 sacks with the team last year. They needed some help finishing. They added a dominant pass rusher. And they get someone, in the interior in Jordan Phillips, run stuffing. Same thing with Tim Settle. They built that defensive line a little bit. They get O.J. Howard at tight end, which will help them, not just kind of be explosive. They're trying to look for a little more check down, and we'll see how O.J. Howard adapts to that. But Buffalo definitely got better. They still, I think, need help at quarterback. They let Levi Wallace leave for the Steelers. They have Tre'Davious White, one of the best corners in the NFL, but he's recovering from a torn ACL. Dane Jackson's another guy that they have kind of filling in for White last year, but I don't know that they addressed that. Maybe that's what they're looking for in the draft. I don't know exactly their pick in this draft. NFL draft.
I think just looking at just their roster in general, right? Is they're already one of the dominant teams in the AFC. I was surprised that Von Miller went there. I mean, I guess money talks, right? Because considering that I feel like he was talking about, he was talking about maybe staying either at LA or going back to the Broncos, and all of a sudden now he's in the AFC East, right? So it's another fun one to look forward to. Von Miller coming down on Zach Wilson.
Buffalo does have pick 25. I didn't remember if they had their first or not. I mean, that's absolutely scary. And so I didn't think that he would. I honestly thought he'd either stay in LA or he would go back to Denver.
Yeah.
I didn't see him coming out east, but yeah, it sucks for Jets fans. Another person that just you don't want to see across the field from you. do you want to get on to Miami? Obviously,
Yeah,
Tyreek.
yeah. I was, yeah, signing Hill, and then you have the offensive lineman Teron Armstead. It's a
Best
big,
tackle on the market.
yep,
Yeah.
big signing for them. Some running backs: Raheem Mostert, Chase Edmonds, and then you have wide receiver Cedric Wilson. I mean, obviously the two big guys, right, with Hill and Armstead. Those are huge signings for not only for that team but for Tua. You're getting him his weapons. Especially across with Jalen Waddle, and then you're giving him a little bit more support up front. Um, I do like the running backs in Mostert and Edmonds. I mean, I know Mostert's been hurt, but when he's been on the
Yeah.
field, he's been one of the better, I think, running backs in the league when he's been healthy. But who knows if that's been a product of just Shanahan's offense, or if that's partially him too. But we'll see. I think Edmonds also is another good back to have. Um, big questions is the quarterback, right? Is Tua the guy? Is he going to be able to turn it around with the weapons that he now has, or are they going to potentially the trade rumors going to be around again this year with obviously it was Watson before, but who knows if there'll be more trade rumors or looking
Yeah.
at next year's draft at quarterbacks. So we'll see.
Yeah, they definitely built around him. There's no more excuses. They gave him running backs. They gave him wide receivers. They've built in the draft. They have the defense. It's absolutely, this is your year. If you don't do something,
Yep.
we're going to get you something else next year because 3 years and they're pretty much going to move on to another franchise quarterback, especially with the playmakers around him. The Patriots re-signed Devin McCourty, Matthew Slater, their special teams ace, James White. They go back and get Trent Brown, their former offensive tackle who went to the Raiders. Juwan Bentley, a lot of basically re-signs. The Patriots, didn't make an abundance of moves unless I didn't miss it. I know they also brought back Super Bowl hero Malcolm Brown. I think they're steady. They did a lot last offseason. They have Mac Jones. They have Chris Barnmore from the draft. They have Ramondre Stevenson and co. They lose cornerback J.C. Jackson, so who really fills into him? I know Jalen Mills is one of the starters. Jonathan Jones, the aforementioned Malcolm Butler. But, I think at cornerback they need some help. But it's a Bill Belichick team, so there's no reason why I don't see them, in the draft going out and, at pick. Patriots, I think, have the 21st overall pick. At pick 21, them grabbing a corner and basically, running the AFC East behind Buffalo again. So,
yeah, I mean, I also think they need some wide receiver help too.
Yeah.
I think, their last number one was Edelman, right? So we'll
if you
see.
want to call him a number one, yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
We'll get on.
I forgot that Buffalo
Jets.
also signed Jamison Crowder. Yeah, I forgot that they got him from the Jets. That would figure. So, and then Shaq Lawson also signed that 2-year contract with Buffalo. Yep. Go ahead. Let's hit it. We'll just go through all the lovely Jets signings.
Well, so I am pretty happy about them signing CJ Uzomah.
AJ, quickly. One thing I did forget, Miami Dolphins, right? They signed Teron Armstead, but one other thing they did, which, I didn't like Connor Williams, but a very good, player. I know he's heavily penalized last year, but also a bookend tackle, maybe if we move him to guard. I thought that was a good move for them. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Yeah. No, you're good. So on to the Jets. I mean, like I said, I did like them signing CJ Uzomah. I mean, I think that's a great pickup for Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Tyler Conklin. I mean, I like it, but
I like Conklin more.
Okay. All right.
Especially because they like to, because they like to run the West Coast offense. They love tight ends, and if you saw it last year, they were running 2 tight end sets all the time. Which for a team that likes to run 2 tight ends, their best guys were god awful. So getting 2 players in Conklin and Uzomah, Conklin's more offensive. Uzomah can do a little bit of everything, but he's still more of a pass catcher. But yeah, I like that the 2 tight end sets that they were able to ruck.
No, I I'd agree with that. I like the signings for the most part. I thought they gave a little bit more money to Conklin, overall, like guaranteed, which we'll see
Yep.
because I think he just had the one good year last year. So we'll see if he can continue it going. I do like them signing the right guard, Lakeland Thompson.
Like Tomlinson,
Um,
yeah.
I think that's a good pick for us for Zach Wilson. Building around him. They also signed Jordan Whitehead, and Jacob Martin at defensive end. Big things that we're gonna have to go after with the draft is our defensive end and wide receiver. Right, that's the two things that we haven't been able to, I think, secure, and it's something that we really need. To give
Yeah.
Zach Wilson more help on offense with that wide receiver. And just gain that premier edge rusher, right? Somebody that can go out and make a splash. And apparently there can be 4 defensive ends that possibly taken in the top 10. It seems like it's throw a dart and take your pick, whoever's there at 4. I'll be happy with.
Yeah. So, and I was just trying to. I saw a mock draft, and I've seen a lot of mock drafts go this way, where at number 1, everybody has Aiden Hutchinson going to the Jaguars. There's no quarterback that can really jump up to that number 1 spot that Jacksonville would be comfortable trading out of. So they take probably the best pass rusher. I mean, the guy's an enormous 6'7", and he was fantastic for Michigan. I know it was a kind of a one-year wonder, but he's got the pedigree. What happens at 2 with Detroit? There's anywhere from a quarterback to Drake London to an edge player or to a tackle. So that's a little bit up in the air. At number 3, I can see the Texans taking either a tackle or Trayvon Walker from Georgia, the defensive end, or just kind of anything in that mold, especially maybe even a quarterback if they think Davis Mills isn't the guy. I think at number 4, Kayvon Thibodeau is going to fall to the Jets, and I am very happy about that. He was supposedly the number 1 pick at the start of this year. I would have never thought the Jets would have any chance of getting someone like him. He has the talent. I think he's the best pure talented guy, and we've seen that before with the Jets where they get the most talented guy and he sucks. But I'm hoping that this is not the case and that, the coaches can get on him, because they question him his passion for football. But this could be the guy where if he falls to the Jets and he becomes a star, finally the Jets would have a defensive end.
That's one thing. I don't get how you can be questioned for your love of football.
I guess he's doing a lot of personal
from?
branding. He's doing a lot of personal branding and making it. He's trying to build his reputation, his brands and stuff like that. Which, why not? I mean, you're a kid.
Yeah.
Trying to make money. Go ahead and do it. Just as long as you get me 12 to 14 sacks a year plus more, or the possibility. I couldn't give 2 craps what you are going out and doing in your personal life, or if you're doing commercials. If he's Baker Mayfield, and we'll talk about Baker in a little bit, and he's doing commercials and he hasn't reached that, then fine, I'll be upset. But if he's doing Baker Mayfield stuff and he's getting me, multiple digit sacks a year, I'd go. Good for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just saying one of the bigs to the.
I was sorry. I just never get that whole where somebody can be questioned for their love of the game or their 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 want to play in the NFL. Obviously, this guy's trying to make a living, right? So he's gonna do everything he can to make it in the NFL, and So I never get when people question their question that of a person. I mean, I know. I feel like the last time I heard that was with Josh Rosen, right? With him and that. So, but I don't know.
Yeah, poor.
Is he still with Miami? Or is
yeah,
right?
Actually, no, I don't know where he is. Yeah, I don't know where he is. Two big signings that you did not talk about, which I'm kind of surprised. The Jets bring back Joe Flacco, 1-year veteran deal. I don't understand it. This guy is clearly. Oh no, I don't like it at all. Especially watching him play last year, he was terrible. That can't be. Yeah. I need somebody, and I know Flacco's a vet and maybe great in the locker room guy, and they re-signed Mike White. Give him a tender, and he's back. So they're going to run 3 quarterbacks. So maybe maybe Mike White's the backup, and Flacco just sits with the clipboard and is just there for moral support. But I don't know. I don't like Joe Flacco.
See,
Um,
I don't mind it just because he's been on a winning, he's a Super Bowl winner, right? He's been in the league
yeah,
for how long? He's got the run of, the league. He knows what to do. He knows how to prepare, everything like that. I mean, I know Wilson's had a year in the league, but I still think it's good to have somebody on that team, at that position that can help, teach a kid how to be good.
yeah,
So
yeah. Uh, and then I think you said Braxton Berrios, so they bring him back. Actually, a
mhm.
pretty friendly contract, especially because I was expecting him to sign over $10 million a year. Tevin Coleman comes back. I like that move. Nathan Shepard was re-signed. They actually under the mid-radar move, and someone that was drafted very high, and especially out of the 49ers, Solomon Thomas, who's a tweener, defensive end, defensive tackle. I liked
Mhm.
him for San Fran when they drafted him. Didn't exactly do what they thought, but I like that signing, 1 year deal. Jacob Martin comes over from the Texans. The big thing that I saw with the Jets that I liked is that they didn't sign a lot of old guys. I know that Uzoma's, reaching 30, or, 28, 29, but a
Mhm.
lot of guys 26, 25, and I like that. DJ Reeds, Jordan Whiteheads, Conklins, and, you know, Lakin Tomlinson's right about 30, but he's also a guard. You can play longer in your guard
Yeah.
position. Uh, and then lastly, the other guy I liked was Greg Zuerlein, Legatron, coming over to be the
Like Trump.
kicker. This is something that the Jets have continually just don't care about the kicker, and it reams its ugly head all the time with the Jets. And listen, Zuerlein could come in and maybe he's going to suck next year, but at least they got someone with pedigree and someone that has been there before, knows what he's doing. I like that more than just them saying, "Oh, it's Greg Zuerlein."
I'll say the only thing that scares me though is he had a subpar year last year. So it's like,
Yeah,
is he declining? I mean, I
yeah,
know I think they still have two kickers on their roster still, besides
yeah,
Zerloin. So I mean, I guess it's going to be a kickoff at camp to see. I mean, who knows
yeah. I
if
mean, I'll
they
take
drop
it.
one of them, but yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that too. Um,
Yeah.
we'll see.
And I do wish they had signed Marcus Williams instead of Whitehead, but I know that the money was just not where it was, and you'd have to really
Mhm.
overpay Marcus Williams in order to get him from the Ravens. Speaking of which, AFC North Ravens getting Marcus Williams, also Jets former offensive tackle Morgan Moses, who did really well last year. So they made some significant moves. To booster that offense and the defense. And, you got Lamar coming back, Zadarius Smith. They were looking at a pass rusher. Um, they didn't really weren't able to do much with that. We'll see if they can pull off anything in the draft. I believe Baltimore has the 14th overall pick, so tons of defensive ends available for them. You want to go ahead and hit up?
Yeah, Bengals, right? Big thing for them
Yep.
was shoring up that line, and had
Yep.
a couple signings with Alex Kapka, Ted Karras, and Leo
Yep. Center for the
Collins.
Patriots.
I think that was a pretty good way to help kind of shore up that that offensive line. They also
Yeah, three
signed Hayden
starters.
Hurst.
Yep.
It's good. Something that he needs. We'll see if they can help. He's sacked 70 times. I'm just reading the stats. 70
Yeah.
times last season between the regular season and playoffs, which is insane. So you hope that
Yep.
those three help shore up that line. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
for
Listen,
them on.
that
Go ahead.
I'd say that offense, right? You have the offensive weapons. You needed the line. You get the guard. You get the center from the Patriots, Karras. You get Lyle Collins, who I liked as a tackle for Dallas. I know he had some injuries and he had a suspension, so maybe he comes in with a clean head and is able to really shore up that offensive tackle position. But yeah, Joe Burrow finally gets at least the semblance of a line so that he can get in that
Yeah.
pocket, stay there, and get it to the players that he needs to do, and they could make another run. Cleveland Browns, and I honestly did not see this coming. First of all, early in the offseason, early in free agency, they trade for Amari Cooper, which the Jets were
Mhm.
also in on. And this is actually another thing I want to talk about the Jets, and I know it keeps going back to the Jets, but Amari Cooper they said the reason that they didn't sign him or they didn't trade for him or didn't want to trade for him was because of his cap hit, and I think it's like 20 million or something. You were
Mhm.
going to trade for Tyreek Hill and give him $30 million
And then
a year and
overpay.
complain about the cap hit, but then,
Right.
so your cap hit line just went out the window.
Yeah.
So whatever. I mean, all right, fine. Cleveland Brown also trade for Chase Winovich from the Patriots, shipping off linebackers, and then the big one. They get Deshaun Watson. They deal multiple first round picks. Uh,
That's insane.
they have that press conference with um, him coming back from his 22 civil lawsuits, and now he's going to be, they're trying to indict him again under a different person. But, is he going to play in 2022? I guess that's part of the issue. They said they did a whole bunch of work in the offseason on, will they be able to, 6 months of looking into the
Oh,
past. So what exactly did they do? Did I get cut off?
you're good now. You were getting cut off a little bit, but
Uh oh.
yeah, I don't understand their trade and signing him and doing what they did. It makes no sense. It really doesn't. What they should have done, and this was with any team in the NFL, just let everything play out and then go
Yeah.
from there. Like, do you really want to have somebody that has 22 civil lawsuits ongoing right now for being accused of sexual assault and misconduct on your team, being the leader of your team, the face of your franchise? Do you really want that? I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't make sense to me. Let it play out.
I mean,
Go ahead.
I say it kind of brings in why they brought, it brings into the fray why they have Jacoby Brissett and they brought him in because they were kind of worried.
Yeah, and just like the way they did the contract too, right? The
Yeah.
first year he only gets like, I forget what it is. It's where it's, if he does get fined or if he suspended or whatever, like he only loses like $500,000 or something like that. It's like something like
Yeah.
ridiculous. Whereas so they purposely made it friendly just in case he gets suspended, and then he gets all this money, in the back end. Like, it's such a slap in the face. And I know, like, you have to let everything play out and see what happens and everything like that. But it's amazing to me that uh, a franchise, a team, a company, right, would do this. And I mean, they gave up such a
Yeah.
haul too for him. 3 first round picks is
Yeah.
insane, and to not even have a guarantee of even playing, it's a head
All right. So
scratcher.
here's the contract quickly. 5 years, 230 million. After he just signed an extension 2 off seasons ago with the Texans, where he signs it and then a month later says that, oh, I don't know why the
Back
team,
out.
is in a different direction. I want to trade. So
Yeah.
a month later, finally, the direction for the team wasn't good enough for Watson. But so a 5 year contract, which gives him $1 million base salary in 2022, along with an 8.9 million signing bonus, which he could still hit with discipline by the NFL at some point this season. Then from after 2022, from 2023 to 2026, he makes $46 million per year. That's
Yeah.
asinine, and it
Yeah.
stinks to high heaven.
Yep.
So they trade for Watson. Who knows what's going to happen to Baker? I like I said, he has Baker hasn't been great. I don't
Hmm.
think that he's the worst thing, but I also don't think he's the best thing. He's just kind of meh. And I could see a bunch of teams still looking interested in him. Maybe Seattle, or the Falcons, or I don't know, maybe somebody. But yeah, I kind of feel
Yeah.
bad for Baker, but at the same time, you don't.
Yeah. I mean, I think that offense just didn't suit him, right?
Yeah,
I think that's the big thing, is that was a run first team. I mean, obviously they brought in OBJ and Jarvis Landry at the time, and
they gave him
you thought it
weapons.
was be, yeah, but I feel like they didn't. I feel like they didn't use them as much, in that
Yeah,
scheme. I mean, I know there was obviously a whole bunch of clips and just during games and stuff like that of OBJ either missing, um, or sorry, Baker either missing OBJ wide open or not, not targeting him, and that's kind of what led to some of the downfall with that. But I just feel like, just like what the Jets did with Sam Darnold, I don't think they gave him you know all that much support in that sense. But maybe that's just me.
yep. Um, Steve on Facebook Live saying Flacco stinks. He doesn't want to teach anyone. Said it himself. I mean, that figures. All right, Pittsburgh Steelers. Bring in Miles Jack. A guard. They bring in Mitch Trubisky to fill in for Roethlisberger. I think it's a good signing.
Yep.
He's not going to be their long-term answer, but they just weren't going to go with Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins. So
Yeah.
I think they eventually do look for, a draft pick to kind of take over that role. But I'd say, Mitch for 1 or 2 years isn't a bad sign at all.
Yeah. I think that's a smart deal. Like you said, go for a quarterback that you like. I mean, obviously, maybe they will go for somebody in the draft, but I like, that signing for them. Have him as a little bridge quarterback. So.
Yep. Houston Texans. Go ahead.
Yeah, Texans. Where to start, right? With them.
Yeah, basically.
The big thing obviously is the haul they got for Deshaun Watson. Just trying to better their offense and defense, all facets of their game. They had a signing in Desmond King, cornerback, Lee Collins, defensive tackle, Christian Kirksey, linebacker. We'll see. Basically where they're at. With quarterback with Davis Mills.
Yep.
We'll see if he can, kind of continue, his path that he showed flashes of being a pretty decent quarterback, and just getting him weapons and targets and more time.
So obviously last year they didn't have a pick until number 67, which they actually drafted Davis Mills. But they have 2 first-round picks, which they haven't had 2 first-round picks. If you combine all 4 of the last drafts, the last 4 drafts, they've only had 2 first-round picks. They have 5 in the first 80, so that's Nick Caserio. He has a solid draft class from last year. Now he needs to make a monster draft class this year. That's pretty much all you can say about the Texans. Indianapolis Colts. So in the offseason, the entire thing was, hey, do they get Russell Wilson? Do they go out and try to get not a Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers? What are they going to do in Indianapolis? Because they have a guy in the guy who shipped to Washington,
Carson Wentz,
who they just don't trust. And they were looking for a quarterback, and I assumed they would make a trade. Instead, they traded for Matt Ryan, which I actually like better than a Russell Wilson trade because it's, the assets was a 3rd-round pick, former NFL MVP. He's in a good position, solid production. He actually leads the league, I think, in passing yards from 2016. They grab Mo Alley Cox, re-signing him. Get Yannick Ngakoue in a trade. I like this team. I think Indy, you have Houston, which stinks. You have Jaguars, which we'll see how their quarterback goes. You got the Titans. I think they could win this division. Yeah. I think they're that good. And, they have a good quarterback now, or a reliable quarterback, I should say. They have, a wide receiver that I think is going to really jump up in Michael Pittman. They have T.Y. Hilton. I know he's a free agent. I'm not sure if they're going to, be able to re-sign him. I think that they are focused, and I like this team, and I think that they're going to be a pretty improved squad.
Yeah, I totally agree. I like the Matt Ryan signing. I just think, they need to get another wide receiver somewhere in the draft or signing, just behind Pittman, especially with Pascal going to Philly. And then who knows, like you said, about, what happens with T.Y. Hilton.
So I know that Indy does not have the 1st-round pick. That went to the Eagles. But they do have some, assets in the 2nd round. I think they have 2 seconds. They should be able to get a wide receiver and kind of build off of that.
Yeah. Jacksonville Jaguars.
Go ahead.
Another
Jags.
I feel like another big splash, right, with free agency. The one head scratcher I had was Christian Kirk. They signed a wide receiver. But they
80
also
million.
got guard Brendan Sheriff, Zay Jones at wide receiver. I really like this linebacker Forsade.
Yeah,
I can never
Olakun.
say his name.
Yeah.
Yeah, Olokun. Great linebacker. Fatukasi. They got a defensive
Yeah.
tackle.
I didn't like
Evan
that.
Ingram. Evan Ingram at tight end, which and Darius Williams at
Yeah.
cornerback. Um, yeah, I think this could be a surprise team, right? That might make a splash a little bit. I'm not saying that they're
Yeah.
a playoff contender or anything like that, but I think they're on the right path, right? With giving Trevor Lawrence the weapons that he needs.
Yep.
Shoring up the line. They need it.
Sheriff's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Straight up the line a little bit. You have sorry, I'm not butchering names right now. James Robinson, Travis Etienne. I think both guys coming off injury. We'll see what happens, but I like both those guys.
Yep.
It's the big thing. If I think for them is just defense. Looking for another edge rusher. Somebody that they can. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would say which they'll pair with Josh Allen, and that's the number one overall pick, Aiden Hutchinson. I think that those two will be bookends. You talked about Etienne and Robinson, two very good running backs. They have Dan Arnold, who did well at the end of the season with Trevor Lawrence, now to pair with Evan Ingram. Wide receivers, like you said, Kirk, but he plays slot, he plays outside. He'll be with Marvin Jones, and I think they had a wide receiver in the draft, and I think that this could be a scary team. Yeah, they're going to definitely get help, and Jared's going to be happy about that. But I don't think he'll trust it so much. But I really do think they made some good moves, and I love Brennan Sheriff. I really wish he was a Jet, but really good signings.
Look at Urban Meyer helping out that team.
Yeah, good job, Urban. Tennessee Titans. They trade for Robert Woods. They add Austin Hooper at tight end. They get Ben Jones at center. Harold Landry outside linebacker. It's really, to me, what is Tannehill going to do for this team? I don't think he's, the greatest thing, but he gets a reliable tight end in Woods to pair with AJ Brown, which he's kind of needed. And I think that the tackle is the other position where they kind of need some help. And if they can shore that up in the draft, they've given Tannehill multiple chances to be this quarterback. And I know he's played well, but when it comes to playoffs, he does not play well. So definitely a questioning of what they're going to do. Denver Broncos.
You mean the big splash right there, right? Russell Wilson. I think that's a great job right there, getting a quarterback that I think could actually push this team, as a true contender, especially not only in the AFC West but in the AFC and in the NFL. They're signed outside linebacker Randy Gregory, DJ Jones at defensive tackle, Josie Jewell as linebacker, and Quan Williams and quarterback. Like I said, the big thing, right? Having a quarterback in Russell Wilson, with that offense, they have the running back in oh my god, what's his name? The rookie. Well, not a rookie anymore.
Yeah, now I'm blanking too. Figures.
Javonte Williams, right?
Yep. Thank you.
Yep. Williams. You got Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton. I didn't like that they had to give up Font. I like him as a tight end. Especially after seeing what kind of some of these other guys got for, Seattle got a haul, I think, for Russell Wilson. But I think it's a good move for them, especially in this division where, you have to make splash moves and flashy moves to compete.
They basically gave up the equivalent of 3 firsts and 3 seconds because Shelby Harris is also a really good defensive lineman. That's a hell of a haul. I know Russell Wilson's really good. I don't know that I necessarily would have paid that, but he has the weapons, and I don't think that changes so much from what he had in Seattle. I think it's a pretty good trade-off. The only thing is he gets a better running back, maybe a better line as well. Randy Gregory was a good defensive end signing. They got better. And like we said, this AFC West from top to bottom, Denver
That's
made
crazy.
significant moves. The second team, KC, made significant moves as well, getting Justin Reed, trading away their wide receiver. I'm going to venture a guess that they're going to add one in the first. Juju, they need another pass rusher. I'm sure they're going to try to go for that in the draft as well. But they have the quarterback, right? They have the best quarterback in the league. They have the best tight end in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And they just have a fantastic coach. So this team, will always be a contender because of the makeup that they have, and that's and then their quarterback. So next team, which I did not see this coming, the
Nope.
Raiders, AJ. But go ahead.
Yeah, Devontae Adams, right, with that big
Yeah, big one.
sign and trade, something that I definitely didn't see, coming. I don't think any of us did. Um, you know, pairing him with Darren Waller, with Hunter Renfrow, Josh Jacobs. I mean, that's a scary offense right there.
Yeah,
You got Derek Carr leading that. Which I totally forgot that him and Adams went to
college
college together.
teammates.
Um,
Yep. I
but
don't know if you're
also
Devonte Adams. I know you want to be a Raider and you like Las Vegas and you like this whole thing, but you really, I mean, and it was all apparently him, but you really want to leave Aaron Rodgers and go for Derek Carr? I don't know.
I think so. I do think it's twofold. I think it's a he saw the payday right that he could get. 'Cause
Mm-hmm.
he didn't want to get franchised, right? And B, I think it's part of it is him wanting to get out of Aaron Rodgers'
But
shadow and
I
not having to
thought
deal
that
with
they even
kind of the
said
baggage that comes.
I thought they even said that they offered him a contract that was actually better than what the Raiders gave. Maybe I misread that, but
So
yeah, it's tough. Man.
I do think though a lot of it has to come with Rodgers and just kind of just getting out of that kind of mess that he can kind of have. Um,
Yeah. Um, he leaves New England now. Green Bay now. The Packers have picks 22 and 28. Uh, sorry, so them like Kansas City will probably be able to jump up and grab a wide receiver if they want. We'll get to them in a little bit. Uh, you know, they bring in Chandler Jones as well. I think you said. I don't remember if you said that. I'm sorry. But yeah, pairing him with Darren Waller is going to be awesome. And Hunter's a very good slot receiver. They get rid of they have Max Crosby. So pairing him with Jones is really good.
yeah,
Yeah, they just they're probably going to need some line help. Maybe they do that later in the draft, but I
yeah,
can't fault them for making those moves. The
yeah,
Chargers, lastly, coming in, they get J.C. Jackson, to help out with this crazy, wide receiver crew, and then they make the trade and they get Khalil Mack, and immediately, I, like, I don't know who to pick in this division anymore.
yeah,
I know that KC, maybe you give it to KC just because they were the champions last year, but I could see I guess the only team I wouldn't see making it definitely number one would be the Raiders, although it wouldn't surprise me.
yeah,
But the quarterbacks in this division, the wide receivers in this division, and the defensive talent. I mean, each team made a trade for a pass rushing specialist, which is crazy. But Chargers, building that defense back up so that they can give their their number one quarterback, some
hmm
awesome a chance to at least play, a little more ahead of the chain. So I like it. I think LA did a fantastic job. Gerald Everett as well. They get some line help outside of Mack and Johnson and Joseph Day. Just great moves all around.
yeah,
It really is amazing what these teams have done.
yeah. It's yeah. I mean, it's gonna be a fun division to watch.
And
Uh,
Mike Williams re-signed for 3 years, $60 million, so you get $20 million per year.
oh, okay. Um, off to the NFC East, right? Got the
Yep,
Dallas
beast.
Cowboys. I think they did a great job of re-signing the guys that they needed to re-sign from their own
Yeah,
team with Demarcus Lawrence, Michael Gallup, Curse at safety, Dalton Schultz tight end, Van Der Esch linebacker, Durance Armstrong, and then you have
yep.
Malik Hooker, Devontae Fowler, and then you have James Washington at wide receiver. Um, Yeah, this is a team that I think can be a contender in the NFC East. I think the big thing for them is just that offensive line, right? They have some question marks at guard, center, tackle, right tackle.
Yeah,
So we'll see if they can get some guys and in the draft to help secure that. But when you have guys, like Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard, in that backfield, obviously you have their quarterback there. Um, and you have some of the weapons that they have and Lamb. Um, I think it's still a pretty good team. Just like I said, just looking for offensive line help.
yeah. So they signed a lot of their own free agents. Lawrence and Gallup and Van Der Esch, Dalton Schultz. They wanted to keep everybody in house. They lose Randy Gregory, which I'm sure they weren't happy about, and that's going to be a tough blow. But they do bring in, like you said, Fowler. I,
Mhm.
I think they got worse. I really do. I think trading Mark Cooper, you're obviously hoping that Michael Gallup takes a huge step. You're hoping that Lamb takes a big step. Their offensive line, I know Tyler Biadasz, or is it Badass? I can't remember how to pronounce his name. Badass. But they like Terrence Steele, and they obviously have the big left tackle guard help, and I think they might even need another wide receiver weapon. I know James Washington's a very good player, but they have the offense. Let's see how Zeke comes back, and Dak obviously had an issue. There's rumors that he had an issue with Amari Cooper, and that's why Cooper was traded. So, yeah, I think they got worse. The next team, the Giants, got a little better, I guess you could say. They pair Tyrod Taylor with Daniel Jones as insurance, I guess. They have James Bradbury. He's looks like he could be traded still. Logan Ryan's gone. They didn't really do much, right? They got a guard and a center.
No.
And I think they're looking to build in the draft. Really, five. They have 9 picks, including 5 and 7. I think that's their big thing, and that's what we're waiting on.
Yeah, I think the big thing too for them would have been signing somebody like Mitchell Trubisky, right? Would have been a good pick, I think, for them to land him.
But that basically means the end of Daniel Jones, though.
I don't think so.
And I think if you sign Mitch, I think I'd rather have Mitch than Daniel Jones. I think Tyrod's a safer backup.
From what I've heard, right, you want to bring competition right to Daniel Jones to try and propel him, right?
Yeah.
Is Tyrod Taylor really gonna to offer that much competition to him?
I mean, he was supposed to start a bunch of different places, right? He has the punctured lung from the needle in one place where that's what brings in
Chargers.
What's his name for the Chargers? Like, maybe, but I guess it's a better spot to be in where they know that they're trying to give Daniel Jones one more year, and if he doesn't, at least they have a solid backup to go with. Whereas, you bring in Mitch, the first game he has that's bad, you can't. Everyone's going to ask for Mitch Trubisky, so that's where I think they might give him a little bit of a leash with Tyrod. I don't think they'll give him any leash with Mitch. Eagles pretty much did nothing, right? Hassan Reddick.
Yeah.
I know he has 23.5 sacks over the last 2 years, but are they doing another splash? They got Zach Pascal, Anthony Harris, but they were looking to trade for Calvin Ridley before his suspension, and they were looking to sign Marcus Williams only to come up empty. It sounds like the draft is where they're going to build this thing, and what they do at quarterback.
Real quick too. Speaking of the Calvin Ridley potential trade, I think that's an awesome thing what Atlanta did, right? Backing out of that and actually kind of being forthright. Yeah, I think that's a pretty admirable thing to do, especially in it's a business decision, right?
Yeah.
So it's a pretty admirable what they did, I think.
The Washington Commanders. I mean,
so weird to say.
Trading for Carson Wentz is. I mean, would you really rather have Carson Wentz than I don't know than what's his name, the backup quarterback now?
Henny or no?
No, not
Hickey.
Henny.
Heineke.
Yeah, Heineke. Yeah, Hickey. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Maybe. I mean, he's, I guess, been in, MVP form for a year, and to give up a third and a second. I mean, good job on the Colts. I know they got
Yeah,
fleeced in that deal from the Eagles, but to get a third and a second for Carson Wentz is
yeah. It's a pretty good
good
return,
job.
all things considered. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, we'll. I think it's funny though, because looking at those quarterbacks, right? You'd probably say that he in that division, you probably make the
yeah.
that he might be the
Second
second best
best.
quarterback. Yeah,
Ugh, that is so
right.
bad. I mean, I think I'd rather have Jalen Hurts. I guess. Ugh. Yeah. Yeah. Not good. And I know that they're
Yeah.
still looking to get some guys like Bobby Swagner. I know Bobby Wagner, but Bob Swags. They're looking to make some other moves. Did anyone actually sign Swags? I didn't see anything, but
No, not yet. Not that I've seen.
um, okay. I mean, the good thing is that Carson Wentz can throw to one of the better receivers in football in Terry McLaurin, so
Yeah,
maybe that helps him out.
that's true. Yeah.
And they need to extend him and Darren Payne real fast. Cole comes pretty good on the outside, so. Chicago Bears. Obviously, they have a quarterback from last year making the trade with the Giants. Now they have their pick. You know, they grab a couple linemen. They grab Byron Pringle to help out a wide receiver. Justin Jones, a D tackle. Fields needs more weapons, and I'm sure in the
Yep.
draft, once again, another team that needs an extra receiver. Pringle's more of a slot guy. The second round, because Bears don't have a first round pick, can they get a wide receiver? To kind of be that option? We'll see.
Detroit Lions, right? I think they helped
Yep.
address one of the bigger things, right, in wide receiver by signing DJ Shark, especially pairing him right across from Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah.
I thought looked pretty well. We'll see what happens
Shark's not a
with
world beater, but he has got talent.
yeah. No, I think it's you have a little bit more weapons, right, for Goff. You see what he can
Yep.
do. They didn't make a big splash, right, in free agency, so far. They also signed Charles Harris at linebacker and Tracy Walker at safety. They also re-signed guys like, Josh Reynolds and Cleve Raymond. So, we'll see, what Detroit does kind of in the draft. They can kind of get some more playmakers, on both sides of the ball and kind of, help this team a little bit, right?
Yep. I saw some rumors that they were looking at Drake London at number 2 overall. At number 2, really drafting a wide receiver. I mean, he's got to be Calvin Johnson for them to take a player like that. I don't know that that's a smart move, but I mean, the Detroit Lions, so I don't know that necessarily smart moves is a thing they do. But Green Bay Packers, the biggest question mark in the offseason, right, was Aaron Rodgers going to come back? Would he be traded?
Yeah.
Would he go somewhere else, leave, retire? He comes back, and then days later they trade Devontae Adams. So at first, I was like, why would Aaron Rodgers come back on a 3-year 150 and then see his wide receiver go? It wasn't really anything that Rodgers apparently knew the whole time that he was going to be shopped. They get Devondre Campbell, Rasul Douglas, Robert Tonyan's come big time Bob comes comes back as a tight end. Now he needs a go-to guy. You also lose MVS. Is Lazara number 1? I don't think so at all. So they're going to go shopping for wide receivers, and maybe they're a team that could pull off a trade for for what's his name from Seattle,
Adam?
or something.
No. Metcalf.
Yeah, Metcalf, or even if they want to go lesser, there's some other guys out there they could probably have. But yeah, Green Bay needs tight end. I mean, Green Bay needs wide receivers, and I'm sure they can use help on defense as well. But it's got to be. It's been 20 years since they picked a wide receiver in the first round, so I'm assuming that that's going to end very quickly.
I mean, you would think, right?
You would hope for Aaron Rodgers' sake.
Yeah. Minnesota Vikings. One of the
poor Jordan Love, the guy drafted in the first round, and he's not seeing the light of day for another 3 years, and he's probably gonna walk.
How much money did he make though? So, I think I'd take that as a first round pick, right? And just
Yeah,
sitting.
yeah,
Minnesota
problem.
Vikings. This is Darius Smith, one of their big signings. Going to be facing Aaron Rodgers twice a year, so we'll see what happens. If he
Yeah, it
can,
goes back against his practice buddy.
yeah,
Yep.
see if he can, make the Packers regret letting him go.
Yeah.
Re-signing Jordan Hicks, Harrison Phillips at defensive tackle, Schlottman at guard, and Johnny Munt at tight end. Um, I mean, I think the big underlying question here is Kirk Cousins, right?
Yeah.
Can he do something with the weapons that he has? Him having Justin Jefferson and Thielen, and then also having Cook. I mean, this team should be better than what they've been for the past 2-3 years.
Yeah.
So we'll
Kevin
see what
O'Connell
happens.
is going to be a big thing for that team, and we'll see what he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, NFC South, Atlanta Falcons. They obviously trade Matt Ryan. They signed Marcus Mariota to be their quarterback. Re-signing Cordell Patterson had a really good year. Younghoe Koo.
Yep.
They were in the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes. That kind of, sizzled out. Losing Calvin Ridley was a big time loss for them.
Yeah.
They instead turn and trade their quarterback and get some assets for him. It's just going to be a build, right? They have multiple holes, and they're
Yeah.
going to try to do for the draft.
No, I think that was smart too, resigning Patterson, and I think Younghoe Koo's been fantastic, for them as a kicker. So, I like the signings that they did, and like I said, it's going to be a rebuild for them.
Yeah, this next team I think is the loser of the offseason, by the way.
Carolina Panthers.
Yep.
Yeah. So you want to take it?
Yeah, I mean, listen. The big thing was they were trying to rebuild their offensive line. They did that a little bit. They have Austin Corbett. They got Bozeman, the center. They have a good left tackle, young left tackle, Brady Christensen. But their big thing was trying to get a quarterback, and they struck out on multiple deals, including going after guys like Deshaun Watson, going after Russ. They were never going to get Matt Ryan, but there was just so many other players, vets available, and instead they're going to be stuck with Sam Darnold in his fifth-year option. Their wide receiver talent is good, not great. They're probably going to look now at a player in the draft. I like Malik Willis, Kenny Pickett, but these guys are not top end quarterback prospects in the sense that if this was a normal year, they're probably not anywhere close to top half of the first round. And now you're going to have a Carolina Panthers pick at 6, which is going to have to be a quarterback because they're going to have to develop somebody. And Matt Rule's job's on the line. So is that GM. I think they struck out, right? I don't think they did a very good job at addressing the biggest need in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see how they finish in that division.
I'll trade him. Sorry, I was to say I'll trade him Zach Wilson for number 6.
Who'd you trade him Zach Wilson?
I'm just saying. Yeah, I'll trade Zach Wilson. I'll take their 6th overall pick. I wouldn't even get a quarterback this year. I'd just go get a vet, something, and then just load up on everything but quarterback.
So what?
I would love that, but next year.
Draft a QB next year or something like that?
Yeah, or like a decent, shittier player for the time being. Yeah.
So you'd be okay with Joe Flacco as your quarterback?
No, it would probably be Mike White at the moment, which it's not. Listen, I'm just not a Wilson fan,
Zach
but
Wilson fan. Fair.
If they wanted to, I would gladly trade him for the 6th overall pick.
Yeah. Interesting. I think you at least got to give him a shot and see. But
yeah, I don't know.
Saints here. I think a good signing in re-signing Jameis Winston. They were in that Deshaun Watson sweepstakes, but I think Jameis actually last year before his injury played pretty well. I think.
Yeah. It was okay
for them. I still think one of those biggest head scratcher moves was that deal they made with Hill.
Yeah,
with Taysom Hill. I don't understand the money
I
that
don't
they
know.
gave him for that, but that was
Just
the
a
big
big
thing, right?
gadget
Is
guy.
and that's the thing too, right? They're with the cap space that they had, right, and letting go Teron Armstead and Marcus Williams just because they couldn't
Yeah,
sign guys. They did get Marcus May, at safety. But for them, the big thing is their pass catchers, right? You have Michael Thomas back, hopefully from his ankle injury, hopefully it doesn't flare up, or doesn't have another injury this year. But after that, I mean, that the depth there isn't that great. And do we know what's up with Alvin Kamara? I mean, I haven't seen anything news related, but who knows
yeah, I haven't seen
if
anything.
he'll be if he'll be playing this year with the kind of stuff that's been going on with him now. So
Yep.
it's looking like for a team that's in a win now kind of mode, not really doing much for yourselves.
Yeah. Um, I think that they, take a step back. They've pushed this cap can down the road too many times and finally caught up with them.
Yep.
And they lose big time players. Like you said, Armstead and Williams are tremendous losses. They do gain back an injury player from Michael Thomas, but I still think they're going to have to,
Mm-hmm.
look into that. And, it wouldn't hurt to double dip with both a value signing in free agency as a wide receiver and then also first round draft choice. So,
Yep.
Tampa Bay Bucks re-signing some of their own. Well, I mean the big thing, right? Tom Brady retires, and
Yep.
then he comes back a month later. So Tom Brady's still
Amazing.
quarterback of the Tampa Bay Bucks. They re-signed Chris Godwin. He's on the franchise deal. Carlton Davis, Ryan Jensen, their center. They get Russell Gage from the Falcons. Perriman as well re-signs. They grab Logan Ryan from the Giants. Playoff Lenny re-signs. They got their free agents. They bring back both guard spot. Uh, you know, positions that they were looking in need of. Shaq Mason takes over the right guard. You know, the two big names still out there are bring back Rob Gronkowski, which I think it's probably going to happen, and then defense Ndamukong Suh, which they probably can do. And this is especially in this division, Saints are worse, Panthers are
Mm-hmm.
god awful, and the Falcons are worse. They are clearly the class of that
Yep.
division. They have a easy playoff, run to the playoffs, and Tom Brady can do anything he wants because he's Tom Brady. So,
Yeah.
it's amazing sometimes. Tom Brady leaves, says he's done all this stuff. I don't know if people are saying he got forced into retirement because all this talk and stuff, but then he comes back a month later and is like, "Yep, my kids and wife don't want to see me." So,
Yeah, it's amazing.
NFC
Can this man
West.
ever retire?
Yep.
Uh,
Arizona
Arizona
Cardinals.
Cardinals. Yeah, I mean, what have they done this offseason, right? They re-signed
Yeah.
Zach Ertz and
Which
James
he played
Conner.
really well for them down the stretch.
Yeah. No, yeah, but I mean, those are the two big splash, signings and re-signings
Yeah.
they've had. They lost Chase Edmonds, for a team
Yep.
that was in the wild card that maybe needed some more playmakers, on offense and even on defense, right? Losing Chandler Jones.
Yeah.
They haven't done much this offseason, so we'll see what they're going to do. In the draft, or if they're going to get some guys.
They have to.
But it's I don't know.
It's either that or Kyler's going to be
quiet.
gone.
Yeah.
They also grabbed Will Hernandez, former Giant, so a little bit of offensive line help. LA Rams, losing losing their obviously winning the Super Bowl. It's gravy from here on out, at least for the time being. They do grab Allen Robinson, and I didn't see that. That was a very under the radar signing, especially because I thought they were going to re-sign Odell Beckham. Allen Robinson comes in, and he's going to be a very good, addition to that team. Aaron Donald looks like he might be signing a new contract soon. They bring in a couple of offensive linemen, and I just think that they a little quiet, but still a team that I think can make strides and be a playoff team.
Yeah.
And Stafford with that big 3-year extension, so he's there for the long term, and they kind of coincided with Allen Robinson's contract. So, yeah, I think that they're, despite not having any draft picks, they're still a team that can contend. So good for them.
Yeah, 49ers, right? With some of their marquee signings in Javarius Ward at cornerback, Oren Burks at linebacker, George Odom at safety, Ray McLeod at wide receiver, and then Hassan Ridgeway at defensive tackle.
Yep.
I think some of the big questions, right, is Jimmy G, right? I don't think
Yep.
he's going to be traded
They
now.
won't trade him. Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, obviously that's he still has great offensive weapons, right? In Deebo Samuel, who actually got a insane extension. Him.
I didn't see his. Did I miss his extension? What did he get?
Let me pull it up.
I didn't see anything on that. Yeah, I mean, like you said, JaMychal Hasty, Jeff Wilson, bring back that running back crew. I think they also Joey Bosa coming, or sorry, not Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa coming soon. His extension's coming up. Garoppolo's for $25.5 million, and basically, they're aiming to put Trey Lance in the best position to succeed in 2022. So who knows if Jimmy's going to be now on the bench and they use him as a backup option? I'm not too sure, but.
I mean, I would have if I was them. You see what the Colts got for Carson Wentz. I mean, I would have tried to trade Jimmy.
Yeah,
but
so yeah, it said Samuel's eligible for a contract extension. They think he'll probably get
next year, right? Or
28, around 28, 26. Yeah, I mean, he's going to cost them a lot because he does absolutely everything. Last but not least, Seattle Seahawks, and then we'll sign out. Losing Russ is the big one. They bring in Drew Lock to be the quarterback. They also have Jacob Eason, and finally Geno Smith is still there. Which, if he sees a starting gig, that poor team. I mean, I still think Baker Mayfield. They could get him. I know he's at $19 million salary, but it's definitely a better option. They made a lot of moves, though, from Austin Blythe to Artie Burns, Quadra Diggs, Kyle Fuller, even Will Dissly. They're going to have to now make some decisions on, do they want to keep this wide receiver core and wait to pay these guys? They do have picks 9 and 40 in this year's draft. Thank you. Obviously, the 9 pick coming from the Broncos. Thank you, Seattle, for giving us your first round pick for Jamal Adams. Just terrible. So, just quickly, we'll be obviously out for a few more weeks. Unless there's a big move, maybe we'll come on for a quick hitter. But we're gearing for that draft. We will have mock drafts coming out. To kind of discuss what we think teams are going to do. And then we're looking forward to that preview show. And then finally the Super Bowl. I mean, not Super Bowl. The NFL draft, and we'll be live for that, and it'll be fun. I'm really excited to this draft, especially the Jets and the local teams having multiple picks in the first round, the first top 10 picks, by the way. And then there's some teams that are probably going to make moves, and you'll see them coming out of nowhere. Wide receiver needy teams, quarterback crazy teams like the Panthers. Even though they're at 6, I think they're going to have people drop to them. I could see the Commanders jumping up for someone. I could see the Saints jumping up if need be. And then, who knows what teams like the Patriots or Steelers or Eagles do. They're always, crazy and do insane things. So, but we will be back. You got anything else?
No, I don't have a trivia question this week.
No trivia.
But now I'm excited for the draft. I mean, coming up. I mean, the way that obviously the NFL season ended, with the playoffs, the way that free agency has been, I'm hoping for some crazy stuff to happen in the draft. So, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it'll definitely be fun. All right, I'll give you a trivia question this time then.
Oh boy,
who was selected? second overall behind Peyton Manning. We're going to do a quarterback trivia questions.
Behind Peyton Manning?
No? Yeah.
You said behind Peyton Manning.
Yeah, one of the biggest busts of all time. Quarterback. AFC West.
No idea.
Ryan Leaf, San Diego Chargers. Oh, man.
Should have guessed that.
Yeah. And then I'll give you one more. Who was the first overall pick in 2001?
Give me a hint.
Quarterback. He played for, let's see, he played for the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, Vic?
Yeah. Yeah, I figured you would have gotten that one, but all right, you are
makes sense.
Just you're having some draft issues. It's okay.
I'm not the stat draft expert like you are.
That's why you leave it for me. All right.
Just empty knowledge in your head.
Very empty knowledge. Yeah, that's what Beth says all the time. So, good job. All right, guys. Appreciate everything. And then we will be back in a few weeks for the NFL draft. Looking forward to it. This is Football Primetime.